Every one of us made a special attempt to be here this morning. It's really not a very comfortable morning. It's chilly and rainy and wet. Yesterday was Christmas, and I'm sure that all of us did something out of the ordinary. And here we are. Why are you here? Why did you come this morning? This building, 114 years, has been here every single Sunday for 114 years. And in that 114 years, there have been so many prayers. There has been so much healing. There have been so many hearts that have been transformed to a place of peace instead of anxiety and fear and pain. And you chose to be in this special place this morning. Be aware, my friends, we choose every day. And we can choose to have the sacredness of God, of Spirit, be part of our lives any moment or all the time. It's our choice. And so it is.
I'm here today because I get to both play the piano and talk.
Whoa.
Good.
What a joy. Happy, merry day after Christmas.
Yes.
Our daughter Julie was born on Christmas Day
Oh.
Wow.
in 1962. We used to celebrate her half birthdays on June 25th to give her some recognition by herself. Well, this year, 59 years later, we got to be with her and her daughters on Christmas birthday weekend. We actually started the festivities on Christmas Eve, and then we continued on through yesterday. With Julie, her oldest daughter Emily, and her youngest daughter Sarah came to our house on Christmas Eve, where I fixed my famous or infamous calamari steak, Brussels sprouts, and boiled red potatoes dinner. While I was preparing that dinner, I'm going to have to show you proof that my ladies were enjoying themselves and entertaining me. You can't see it very well. Harmony, not so much. Spontaneity, gaiety, a lot. There was a lot of joy going on in that household while they were doing that, and I was cooking and also managing to take a little tape of it. Well, getting together with them certainly brought back memories of the New Year's Eve day 23 years ago when Sarah was born in Santa Rosa Memorial Hospital, just up the road. I remember that event very vividly because as I arrived in the hallway outside of the delivery room, I heard the first cry of baby Sarah. And my wife, Nancy, immediately handed me a package. It was baby Emily burning up with a fever. And I vividly remember that day because I got to hold that very hot little Emily while everything else was going on. I don't remember much else of what went on that day, but I remember receiving and holding hot Emily. Well, our celebration of Christmas and birthday continued on Christmas morning when we journeyed to Julie's house and we got some homemade frittata and cinnamon rolls. And then later that day, we hosted them when they came over and brought some French onion soup and a homemade cake for Julie's birthday cake. It was a grand way to start a holiday weekend and it reminded me once again how important it is to treasure the family we have, the friendships we've made, the food we consume, and the celebrations, the traditional celebrations that bring us all back together every now and then. All that was a joyous time and it's fun to remember, but there are some other things that we truly have to remember that are not quite as fun to remember, but are very necessary for us to do so. And I'm going to end the talk on that more serious note. The final day of the Christmas calendar is not Christmas Day, but it is the end of the 12 days of Christmas, which end on the 12th day after Christmas. It happens to be January 6th, and it's called the Epiphany. And when you do research on the Epiphany, you find out it means one of two things. It's a feast celebrating the manifestation of the divine nature of Jesus, but also it can be a sudden insight or intuitive understanding. And unfortunately, on January 6, 2021, we Americans and the whole world got a visual presentation of how precarious our democracy is when we watched a riotous mob of fellow Americans as they attempted to overthrow the results of a presidential election. We cannot let that happen again. We must remember. So my final words to you from this pulpit on this year and the first words for the next year are, remember January 6th. Namaste.
Thank you, Wayne, and thank you for a very wonderful service last Sunday while I was playing hooky, having a day off. So thank you very much. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'd like to just, I'm going to go through announcements first, and I want to talk about some things. Thursday morning, talk to us, Janet. When's that going to be?
It's going to be on January the 6th.
January 6th. That's a day that shall live in infamy, so to speak. All right.
We're going to remember it.
What's that? All right. In the hall, 10 o'clock. Coffee and probably something to nibble on. Just, yes. All right. We are going to have a board meeting on January 8th,
Isn't it May?
9th, yes, the 9th, absolutely. And then our annual meeting will be on January 30th. And that's when, I think everybody here knows about the annual meeting. It's when we all get together and we elect a board of director, our board and officers, and approve a budget and talk about ideas for the past, from the past and the future, and anything else that might come up. But that, as members, you're all shareholders of this corporation. And the law mandates that we meet once a month, once a year, and have a meeting and participate as shareholders, as owners of this corporation. So that's what, the first one was held in 1901. So that's 120 years congregations have been coming together. We did not do one last year because of the thing, but this is, well, that's 120 years this place has been here. So anyway, that's that part. We're going to talk about our music today that we're going to sing is a little different than we normally sing. So I'm going to ask for everyone that Wayne kind of play it through a little bit before we start. And the song that we are going to sing right before meditation, I opened my eyes. We're only going to sing it once. It says in the songbook to sing it 3 times. We're just going to sing it once. We had a meeting at one of our potlucks, and today is potluck, by the way. Potluck, yeah, whatever. And you showed great interest in learning more about opportunities to serve within our community. And we followed that up by inviting the Council on Aging to send their volunteer director and do a little talk as part of the service, and then stick around for fellowship and answer questions and talk some more. Wayne and I had the pleasure of meeting with Jules Penguin, who happens to be the programs director for COTS, and also the other lady, and I forget her name right now, who is our go-between for our rental partnership with COTS on the Rose Cottage. But it was a delightful meeting, and we found out that COTS is beginning in the end of January, accepting the first delivery of what will be 25 tiny homes, tiny houses, that they are going to start a little community right behind their building, down on Hopper Avenue in Petaluma. And there are ways that we can participate in that. They have outstanding programs, way more than what I thought. And so we invited them to come and share opportunities and what they're doing and stuff. And they were going to be here on the 23rd of January. So put that in your calendars. That would be a great day for all of you to come. And let me see, I'm going through the little thing here. Okay, now I'm going to talk about something that's just going on. Richard came in this morning. Raise your hand, Richard, so everybody knows who you are. Richard came in this morning and he said, this is 5 years to the day that Richard was in the hospital and not expected to live the day. And he's here. And so, Richard, we're glad you're here, and what a celebration. I just found out this morning, Ward and Susan aren't going to be homeless. They don't need to move into the tiny village down at COTS. they have secured a place to live, and we're so happy for them. Congratulations. What a great way to start our year. And Mike, his wife's family over in the Philippines, he spoke about it last week a little bit. I didn't catch it all on the video, but everybody is surviving and getting along. And I have a suggestion. Since we've got like nothing but good news this morning, how would we feel as a congregation of making a Christmas gift to the Philippines, Mike knows who to, of $100? Should we do that as Church of the Oaks?
If you think so, please raise your hand. If you'd like us to do it, the board of directors is represented here, some, we'll do it.
All right, I think we got a positive vote. So Mike, if you'll get with Wayne and figure out how to make out the check, how to do this, we'd like you to forward that, be our go-between, and forward that to those folks as a Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much. And your resilience is inspiring. I've got pictures of people standing in front of their destroyed homes going with a big smile, going, look, we get to rebuild.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, it's a wonderful cause, and these are very wonderful people that really come together when the need happens.
That's our spirit of humanity, and we can all do that. And I'm going to talk about that a little while from now, later today. But any other announcements? Okay. Oh, I got one more now. Yvonne got very ill this week, and she's just got like the stomach flu or something. It's not COVID. It's not.
She's
Hey,
fine.
Kelly.
She's fine. I talked to her yesterday, and she's fine.
She's fine. So just kind of good news. And so let's stand now and sing Give Yourself to Love. And Wayne, why don't we play it through once, all right?
Where's the second page? I forgot to get the page ready. That's it.
Okay, so are we ready?
Almost.
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 Got the pages laid out? All right.
A little intro.
Give yourself to All right. This is the time when we greet each other in whatever fashion we might feel comfortable. It was a long song, wasn't
The timing is difficult.
Yes.
I'm working on a lot. And even more so that what do you see? Wait till you hear it.
That's actually a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Just the lyrics are just dynamite. I'd like to do that some more.
Well, yeah. And being familiar with them that way. I forgot to bring my list.
You got to bring your mask.
Yeah, I got it's in the car.
There's a brand new one. I just grabbed it out of the thing and stuck it in my pocket.
You're not going to use that.
I'm not going to use it now. I'll grab another one when I go to the back. Wayne, I think they're going to sit down without me getting a chance to ring the bell.
Ding ding. Ding ding.
All right.
I just got.
All right, it'll be. You know, our little gesture we all ascribed to a moment ago about sending a small gift to the Philippines. You folks are incredible. I don't, when it comes to this part about our abundance and prosperity, we haven't passed a basket in years. And we have a chance to share when we choose to, and you folks always do. There's a basket in the back. Every time we make people aware that, oh, they need some coats or some sweaters or some tents or some raincoats or some socks. You get it, folks. You understand this prosperity and abundance. You do. And let's just talk about the profundity of that as we read together the affirmation of abundance. To realize an abundant life, one must practice giving, receiving, and gratitude. And oh, you do. Yes, we do. Thank you, Wade. You know, I don't think there's anything that gives a human being, that includes all of us, the joy that we feel when we share of ourselves, our time, our talent, our thought, our treasure. I don't think anything gives us as much joy and satisfaction as choosing to do that. As we prepare ourselves for our meditation this morning, Wayne's going to play a song through. Let's sing it one time, but he'll play it so we can kind of all know the tune.
morning.
Good morning.
Last week, Wayne passed out candles, where the first candle lit the next candle, which in turn lit the next candle, and so on until all of our candles were glowing. Then we sang, one light lights another, lights another, lights another. Using this imagery of individual flames becoming a larger shared light, in this meditation, I'd like you to think of each inhaling breath as fanning the flame of peace, the peaceful, which is your true self, while sharing the light with others on the exhaled breath. So clear your thoughts as best you can. Get comfortable. Now inhale a slow, deep breath, feeding the flame within you. With each breath, your internal light gets brighter. With each breath, there is a peaceful calm. On the exhale, let your light surround you and others, eventually to find just the right person or situation somewhere in the world. So let's begin. Inhaling, seeing your light grow. Exhaling, sharing your light with others. As we begin to end this meditation, remember that your light lights another, lights another, lights another.
Kelly, thank you very much. We generally, the last Sunday of December after Christmas, we generally have what we have called a burning bowl ritual. And we're not going to do that this year. A ritual can be a very rewarding, meaningful part of our lives. But quite frankly, folks, I think you have all come beyond ritual. I think we are all growing. I'm sure of it. The consciousness today, right here in this room, is so much different than it was a year ago. I've got 400 things to say, but I don't know how they're going to come out. The first quote on the order of service is by Mark Twain. Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens was a very interesting man. Samuel Clemens was just like every one of us. Had disappointments, had some problems, had addictions, had happiness and sadness, and experienced suffering. He had an interesting quote. Mark Twain had an interesting quote about suffering. He said, we've all experienced a lot of suffering. Some of it actually happened. And isn't that profound? We worry and think and imagine and are so much afraid of stuff that never comes about, but we still experience the suffering. But I think one of the greatest quotes that Mark Twain, this side, this facet of this normal guy, Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain said, you know, in every life there are two most important days of every life. And that's the day you're born, and the second is the day you understand and become aware of why. And I think that maybe doesn't happen in one day, but I think all of us are understanding and realizing why we are born. What is our purpose? When we first start our lives, it seems like, oh, we get an education and then we find out we're big people. And we start living the dream and creating a career. We begin relationships with people. We fall in love. We have children. Things change. All this hustle bustle, this chaos goes on in our lives for quite some time. And I think it's very important in helping us to realize somewhere down the road, why are we actually here? And so many people have thinkers, people who have really thought about this their entire life, come to the conclusion that our purpose, when we discover and figure it out, has something to do with serving humanity, serving our universe in one way or another. And I think every one of us in this room has taken steps in that realization in this last year. For the last, I don't know, since March of 2020, I have talked, I don't know, a lot of times about, I hope we don't ever get back to normal. I hope we create a new normal. The message this morning is entitled, are we going to create a new year or just another year? I think it's time that we really give some thought to creating a new year. This virus thing has gone on for a long time. It's become very inconvenient, caused us a lot of anxiety, maybe some fear, at least some super cautiousness and awareness. But let's stop and think for a moment. What about those folks in Afghanistan? that for 20 years had a country in there blowing stuff up. And 20 years before that, there was another country there blowing stuff up. How about Iraq? How about all over the Middle East, Southeast Asia? We feel hard pressed to endure this COVID pandemic. But nobody's been blowing our stuff up every other day. About living like that. We all have in this lifetime these challenges, and I think they're there for us to question. We are here. We have survived. For why? Why have we come through this? I think it's to come to the realization of why we are here. That's the question. You folks have expressed a desire this past year with all the COVID and all the financial hardships and anxieties and pressures and communication problems and the inability to touch and be with each other, our families. You have still made it very clear, abundantly clear to me, you want to know more opportunities in our community to serve your community, to serve your fellow man and women. I'm going to ask that we do something a little different this year than Burning Bowl. I think Burning Bowl is a great ritual. You ponder and think about what you want to release from your life that's not serving you well. Your habits, your thoughts, your feelings. Figure them out, write them down, burn them up in a bowl. Then you consider what you'd like to manifest into your life, to fill up those places that you just made available by throwing stuff away. I don't think we can do that in 15 minutes. This is December 26th. Next Sunday will be December 2nd. January. I'm sorry. Thank you. Need to pay attention, Patrick. We have a week, an entire week, to ponder and think and consider. How is it that each one of us could shift our thoughts, our speech, and our actions that might better serve why we're here? So I'm going to ask that we take this week and spend some time. It's not like a normal, productive, average week. This is the week between Christmas and New Year's. And it's a major portion of the 12 days of Christmas that Wayne has spoken of. And this epiphany that happens on December 6th, maybe we can prepare for that in doing a little housekeeping, a little early spring cleaning in our thoughts, in our habits, in our actions, in our voice. So I'm going to ask that this week we all think about why we're here, how we could add more value into our being, and write things down, make little notes. Write yourself a letter if you want, write 3 or 4 letters. And next week we'll have envelopes here. And next week you can take the envelopes, they'll just be sitting at the back, and put all these notes that you have written. Maybe you'll want to write more notes during the service next week. Who knows? but spend a whole week in this burning bowl ritual, only make it in real time. Really give it some thought. Why are we here? And how can we add value to that presence? And then put it in the envelope, and we'll have a special basket, put it in there, and then those will be sent to you in June. And we could do a little checkup, a little well check on how we're doing with this thoroughly contemplated shift in creating a new year. Because I think truly, folks, if we don't create within ourselves a real intention of manifesting our better selves into our lives, into this community, our world needs us. Our community needs us. I think this pandemic is a sign to us. It's one of the symptoms of a spiritually injured society. This division that Wayne mentioned about January 6th, this division within our society, same thing. It's a symptom. It's a symptom of a very low level of consciousness based on fear and greed and hate. You know all this stuff. And let's maybe take this week and really give some serious thought. What can I do to add a little more salt and pepper and sugar to my existence in this community? And next week, bring your notes. And if you don't want to write this stuff down, you have at least thought about it for an entire week. And perhaps that will be the energy or the inspiration or the motivation we need to actually bring about some of those changes and shifts in our life. I have been so excited inside. We are changing, my friends. The consciousness in this little community we have is changing. I feel it. I'm about to explode. And I think you have picked up on it as well. And I think this coming year, I think we're going to radically change. It's going to be an absolutely new year. Our science, I was talking to a young man yesterday, probably one of the most brilliant people I've spoken to in a very long time. He's actually an entrepreneur guy that makes companies, but he was talking about the science that he is so intrigued with. This last variant, I can't even say the name of it, of COVID, when that became identified, when they figured out, oh, this is new, it only took 3 days to do a DNA genome identification to where they had it figured out and they could start making things. 3 days. 5 years ago, it would have taken 4 years, 5 years. It took a little over a year or almost a year to identify the original strain. Science is changing and improving exponentially. at quantum rates. And I think that each of us can change as well. I think the capacity, the potential for each one of us to understand more of this mystery we call the unseen, I think that's available to us. All we have to do is really put our minds to it, put our intention to it. And all change is uncomfortable. Yes, we're going to have uncomfortableness this year. We're going to have suffering this year. And like Mark Twain said, some of it's actually going to happen. But instead of doing a 15-minute ritual, my friend, let's really ponder this new year before us. There are very few givens for the year. Everything is going to be new. And it's up to us to create our life situation, to create our perceptions, to choose to come to church on Sunday, to choose to lend a helping hand to our neighbors, to choose to become more compassionate, more empathetic, more accepting, and more forgiving. It's up to us. We have a brand new year staring us right in the eye. And what are we going to do with it? Are we going to make a new one? Or are we just going to keep on going through the same old thing and just have another year? I have great confidence. I have great expectations. And it's going to be a very wonderful year in experience and love and empathy and forgiveness. Indeed. Let's have a wonderful year. Wayne, will you play our final song through? And please, everyone, let's get together and have a little potluck next door.
Thank you.